Well, good afternoon and welcome to PCR and the SBDC for today's presentation of maintenance solutions with SoCalGas. We are so excited that you are here today joining us for this wonderful presentation. We think that you'll learn a lot as we focus on profitability for all of our clients, particularly for our restaurant clients. We want to make sure that you have all of the tools that you need to be the most profitable restaurant that you can. So I'm Colette Moore. I'm the director of PCR in the SBDC. PCR is PCR Business Finance. We've been around for 45 years providing support for small businesses. 45 years, that's a long time. I'm barely that old. Not, but 45 years providing help for small businesses. We provide lending as well, SBA, other types of micro loans, as well as a state guarantee program. And of course, with our SBDC, we do technical assistance as well as one-on-one advising. And so I'm so happy today because we have two great Restaurant Academy advisors that have been with the center for quite some time. The first one is Asia Beard. Asia is a native Los Angelino and a UNLV rebel. Oh, she is a rebel. She's been in the hospitality industry for 26 years, spent 15 years managing and opening new restaurants, so she can be of high value to you. Her experience ranges from fine dining to quick service, and she loves helping restaurants to thrive as well. She's been a restaurant advisor since 2019 here, and her passion for restaurant profitability, efficiency, and cleanliness can be seen when she teaches food costs, excellent workshop, restaurant accounting, serve safe food protection, and also manager classes. Then we have Celeste Young Ramos. Raise your hand, Celeste, there. And Celeste has a lifetime of restaurant leadership experience through her own family restaurant ownership and years of large-scale multi-unit restaurant operations. So she was with Denny's Inc., and where she was a Southern California regional management training manager, and she was responsible for nearly 100 restaurants for management and employee training compliance and developing curriculums for professional development, employees, and leadership. So our Restaurant Academy advisors are well equipped to provide you with the information that is going to help you to grow. Our focus here is know your numbers. These ladies are always working on helping you to know your numbers. And so this presentation will be part of that today. We also have guest speakers today. Our guest speaker, because we have a new relationship and partnership with SoCalGas. And the first one is Carmen Oliver with SoCalGas. And Carmen is an advisor with the customer programs. And we are looking forward for her to be able to share with you all of the resources that are available that I didn't know about either until very recently. And I'm happy that we have connected with SoCalGas and Carmen and her team. Also on the SoCalGas team is Will Morris, and Will is a food service equipment center program manager, a program advisor, and he has deep knowledge here on restauranting as well as maintenance. And so he's going to be able to help give you some really great tips to help your restaurant to perform better. Excited for that. And then also we have John Spock. Did I say it correctly, John? I think, oh, it is Spock. All of a sudden, I'm like, I don't know if I got that correctly. So thank you, John. And John is with Safe Kitchens and the CEO of Safe Kitchens. And he is a great help, actually, to many of our clients. And his company does deep cleaning, commercial kitchens. And he's been doing that for 25 years. And he has a focus on deep cleaning and mitigating risk for your restaurant, including decreasing floors, floor sinks, hoses, and under and above equipment to help eliminate pests as well. So while we're also trying to save on our gas and our maintenance, eliminating pests is very desirable for a restaurant. So we're glad that John is involved in helping in that area as well. So I covered a little bit about PCR for those new to the SBDC. It's a national program with over 1,000 locations across the country. We offer no cost advising and workshops to businesses. We're funded by the SBA, which is the Small Business Administration. That's the U.S. federal. Also the state of California, the Go Biz program, and then also other funders and SoCalGas as well, who is helping to present this program today. So we thank them for their support. In terms of our overview for today's workshop, our objective is really to share best practices for you to maximize the life of your restaurant equipment. That's the whole goal. You want to, put your investments in and then maximize your investment, minimize disasters, fires and the such, and also reduce your utility expenses and ultimately to help increase your profit. So today we're going to have a Restaurant Academy overview, maintenance and profit, panel questions, SoCalGas services, Q&A, and then participant prize giveaway. And then we'll have a few closing remarks. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Celeste to give you a brief overview of the Restaurant Academy.
Okay, thank you, Colette. So we are very fortunate to have a Restaurant Academy at our center. I think it puts us light years ahead of some of the other centers where you can get really specialized service regarding those. So how we can assist you is do one-on-one advising. So from your startup business planning to strategies, doing your financial projections, learning how to grow and expand your business and everything in between, from hiring to sales. We have excellent vetted business consultants in restaurants, human resources, financing, etc., to be at your beck and call. Our workshops are offered weekly and they rotate monthly, and we'll go through a list of those workshops at the end of our session today. And we have a lot of special events. We quarterly have panels with food service entrepreneurs who provide networking opportunities and also share the best practices that they've learned in their successful businesses. So we wanted to start off with a couple poll questions so that we could get a feel for where you guys are in your preventative maintenance journey. And one of our first questions is, have you ever been to the SoCalGas facility in Downey? So if you would just choose one of the three possible answers there, we'll kind of see where the crowd falls. Okay, so 33% yes, 33% no, 33% I didn't know they had a facility. Tell me more. Well, we're going to share a lot about the facility. I know I discovered it probably 15 years ago, and it's an excellent place to try out different types of equipment and learn about rebates and things. They have a very wonderful team there, and they're going to share more about the facility so that you have an opportunity to go and take advantage of their free service. And our next poll question is, how often do you do preventative maintenance on your equipment? This is going to be very telling. So is it every 3 months, every 6 months, every 12 months, or I wait until things break down?
If I don't have equipment, do I have to answer this?
No, you don't have to.
I just don't want to upset the.
You'll be fine. You can put an answer in. How often you think that they should do it? Okay.
I'm just glad no one chose D.
What's that?
I'm just glad no one chose D.
Yeah, no one chose D. That's great. So we're kind of a 33% split across the board. And we're going to talk a lot more today about what's good timing and what type of preventative maintenance you can do in your restaurant to keep it safe and also save you a lot of money. So I know from being responsible for scheduling all of the repairs and maintenance for 20 restaurants, we really saw a great level of savings when we started doing preventative maintenance on the machines instead of waiting till they broke down. We really extended the life and could often catch problems before they became big financial disasters. So, well, with that, we're going to turn it over to Asia, and she's going to take us through how maintenance impacts profit.
All right. Thank you, Celeste.
You're welcome.
I always appreciate those polls too. So it's good to see what people said. Okay. All right. So how maintenance impacts profit? If we go to the next slide, I want you to kind of memorize this formula. Lost time equals lost revenue. So if you have something that unexpectedly breaks down, whether it, the freezer stops working, the refrigerator, half of it stops working, you have a compressor that goes out in the middle of your service, it's going to bring your business to a full stop. So in order to prevent that, we encourage you to not only have a preventative maintenance schedule, but that you are maintaining it on a regular basis, even if you have a warranty. So I want to give kind of an example, and this is something that's happened to me before in the industry. I came in one day, it was a busy day. The previous day, everything was fine. All equipment was working. We walked in the next day and the walk-in cooler broken down. And all of the perishable items that were in there, the proteins, the cheeses, the dairy, the produce, was gone, right? I mean, if your walk-in breaks down, you sometimes have a little bit of a cushion as long as no one opens the door. It should hold for about 24 hours. But if it's been longer than that, or you have something that goes in and out because they didn't know it was broken, it's going to drop that temperature down pretty quickly. And so we had to figure out how we're going to run our business for the next day, right? Is this something that we can still do? Do we need to quickly, buy more product in time to open for service? Is there anything that's salvageable? Do we need to rent a refrigerated truck? In one case, I had to rent a refrigerated truck because we were able to salvage some of those items and move it over. But that completely disrupted the business for the day. So in one case, we just had to shut down. We couldn't serve lunch that day. We had to wait until the next day because that particular location was a breakfast lunch venue. And in the other case, we were able to shut down just for half the day and then continue service. But regardless, it impacted us from a revenue perspective in a huge way. And not even just from revenue, but the additional labor that was required in order to move all of that equipment, all of those food items into the other space, to now rent this additional vehicle, to now maintain that, because it's not just kind of a one-day rental. You're going to have that for a few days until you get that equipment repaired. So you want to make sure that you are looking into not only maintaining your equipment regularly, but having a backup plan that you can whip out very quickly in case something like this breaks down. All right, so a little game. So these are actual pictures from locations that I've been to where I had to do a mock health inspection. And I want to see if you can guess what's wrong with this picture. So you take a look, I'll give you about 30 seconds. You can use the chat function and tell me, what do you think is wrong? The temperature, very good, Eric. Ding, ding, ding. I need a little bell for you. So yes, in case you didn't read it, and Janelle, thank you, you got it as well. The little sticker on there says prep freezer 9. So they have multiple freezers. This is just number 9, but it's running at 56 degrees Fahrenheit. What should that freezer really be at? Much, much lower, right? So we want to make sure all of our equipment is running, 32 below, running at the proper temperature at all times in order for things to be maintained at the right temperature, but also just successfully. So, something like this, if we notice it, whether it's we're walking by and we happen to catch, we look at it and we see, oh my gosh, it's 56 degrees and this is a freezer. Somebody needs to stop doing something to get this taken care of. We need to make sure there's no food inside of it. We need to make sure that we've got somebody out to do repair. This should be something we should catch immediately. And one of the ways you can catch that is if you have someone who has a checklist, or if there is a temperature log on the side of this freezer and your staff is looking at things on a regular basis to make sure it is at the right temperature. I was very big on, we check temperatures anywhere from 3 to 5 times a day, depending on either the equipment or what the duty was. So that way we can make sure there are eyes on this equipment constantly. All right. How about this next one? What's wrong with this picture? Hopefully this is also very obvious. Yes, this is beyond dirty. This is, we're calling John from Safe Kitchens to come and take care of our equipment immediately. So, okay, part of maintenance is not just having, the equipment, the compressor checked, recalibrating. Maintenance includes cleanliness, right? Because the cleanliness is going to help lengthen the time that you can use the life of that item. So for this particular item, you can see this is the side of the stove. So probably they're wiping down the surface, the top of it, maybe even the front part of it, but no one's pulling it away from the walls and really getting in between the grooves here. And depending on what your labor model looks like, you may not have enough time to add that into the daily cleaning that you do at the end of the night. So this might be something that you bring in a professional to come in and do, whether you're doing it monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, whatever time frame you need, because it does depend on how busy you are. You need to do a different level of cleaning besides the regular day-to-day cleaning, and we call that deep cleaning. And so this is a piece of equipment that has not been deep cleaned in a very, very long time, and this is going to impact how useful it is. Not to mention just cooking on something like this and all of the bacteria and grime that potentially is getting into your clean food that you're serving to your guests. So yes, if we click, the correct answer is that, you want to keep their commercial equipment clean and sanitized, and you never want to have this excessive buildup of dirt on anything. And this could be not just the side of the stove. This could be, the side. I've seen refrigerators where you've got cobwebs and you've got the grease, sticking hair. It's like a little hairy moss going on back there. So this is something you should be looking at all of your equipment. Okay, let's do one more. Absolutely, Celeste. Starts fires to grease fires. Who should repair broken equipment or provide preventative maintenance to your equipment? Maybe you've got a handy uncle, or you've got an aunt who just likes to fix things. Are you okay with bringing them in and having them look at your walk-in? What do we think? Let's see. Any guesses? All right, good. Exactly. Thank you. Ding, ding, ding. We definitely want to have a professional person come in, depending on what you need. If you're looking at your ovens, you're looking at your refrigeration, you're looking at air conditioning, whatever that is, you want to make sure it is a professional and licensed, bonded, insured individual that's coming in and working on this equipment. Now, a lot of the times the manufacturers that provide this equipment, they'll highlight people in their the owner's manual, the specific maintenance that you need to have done. So when you're searching and looking for somebody to come in and do this, you can ask them, do you provide this particular service for this type of equipment? And they also have referrals that are provided to you by those different organizations. I was working with a client who has a display case for his coffee shop, and it was broken. And this was not something he purchased. He inherited that piece of equipment from the previous owner. Well, there is a little sticker that's placed on that display case that has a referral for a professional a professional person to come out and work on it. So a lot of the times it's included as either a referral or something that's placed on that equipment that you can easily access. And you want to make sure you set that up. I do recommend shopping around because these can be very costly services. And so I like to just get multiple quotes, see, who has the quickest turnaround time, who's got the lowest minimums they're going to charge you to come out. And yes, one of my clients, he couldn't believe it. They do charge you a fee to come out, even if they don't fix it, because you are asking them to come in and give an evaluation. You're asking them to give their time and their expertise to you. So there usually is going to be some sort of upfront amount you will need to pay. And that is totally normal. So make sure that you are doing that and actively searching for the right vendor for that piece of equipment. Great, good. So thank you. You guys got all those answers correct. Can you still hear me? Because all of a sudden my screen went black. Okay, perfect. All right. I would like to now turn this over to Will. He is from our SoCalGas partnership, and he's going to give you some best practices on how to maintain your equipment. Will.
Thank you, Asia. Really glad to be here. Excited to be here with everyone and just talk about equipment, which is a vital part of a food service business. Asia, I think you already provided a great list of important factors on what we need to look at when we're looking at equipment. If we can go to the next slide. I actually found this user's guide, or an older version of it, when I was in the industry full time. I was looking for something to train my employees on that really had main highlights to all the different various gas equipment in the industry, and how we can look at like an overall or general assessment of each piece. So when you look at your equipment, it's pretty expensive, and it represents a major investment within your kitchen. It's important for the operator, it's important for your business, and if it's not maintained properly, it could go down. It cannot perform the way you need it to. So instead of it taking 5 minutes, it could take longer. And if you're able to have a regular maintenance plan, you could stay on top of when those breakdowns would happen. And proper equipment, maintaining your equipment can help you save in labor, it can save in energy, repair costs, and time. As Asia was talking about earlier, if you have a technician scheduled to come out far in advance to repair or assess equipment, it's going to be a lot cheaper than calling them and saying, I need you to come out here right now to look at this piece because it's not working. And it's probably going to be a critical piece to your business. If you're a burger joint, for example, a charbroiler or a griddle is going to be critical. So this guide provides really an advanced food service equipment maintenance procedures and really just highlights the main recommendations. As in this guide, you'll see we always encourage the operator to, once you get a piece of equipment, to go to that manufacturer that you have. If it's a fryer, what's that model? What's that manufacturer name? What is it, the operation instructions for that piece? What are they recommending you do? What are the cleaning chemicals? What are the tips to maintenance? But I encourage you to familiarize yourself with the guide, to look not at this as a replacement for the operation manual, but just kind of as an overall tool that you can use in your toolkit. So here is the question that every food service operator should ask themselves. When would it be convenient for your primary equipment to fail and stop producing your signature food product? Let's say, there's two important factors to this question. First, food service equipment is very competitive. It's going to be running on all cylinders all day just to perform. And an operator can't afford to lose it. It's going to hurt your sales, as I was mentioning earlier. And that failing equipment can, have many bad outcomes. There could be safety issues, food safety issues. Obviously, if certain pieces go down, you might not be able to perform. So what are your core menu items in your restaurant? If it's a burger joint, it's probably going to be a griddle and a charbroiler, possibly a fryer too, maybe a convection oven, depending on what your menu is. Maybe you're also making your own buns, so you possibly have a little rack oven for baking, or maybe the convection oven for baking. And you don't want to risk closure. So when you are looking at designing a maintenance plan for your team, what are those top 3 pieces in your kitchen? What are those possible risks that you may see with those pieces? If it's, let's say it's the steamer, are you regularly descaling that steamer to prevent limescale buildup? If it's a boiler-based unit, because if that boiler fails, that steamer is going to go down. If it's a coffee maker, do you have the proper water filtration in place? If it's a steamer, do you have the proper water filtration for that piece of equipment as well? What is the manufacturer recommending? So you can start a service log, you can create a maintenance plan, you can really start from the beginning of that piece and tracking what you need to do and planning that out for the future. One thing I did a long time ago, and if I ever went back in the kitchen again full time, would be to create this book log that I did that had a sheet for every piece of equipment. It listed the manufacturer, the model, it listed all those recommendations and put them on one sheet of paper. And then on the next sheet, it included the operation manual. And then it also included, the top cleaning tips, maintenance tips, and even operation tips on how you should use those pieces, which are critical. And let's go to the next slide. And so as I'm jumping into that, this sheet right here is really just a overall recommendation on how you can design your own maintenance plan. So I recommend if you wanted to download this guide, you can go to the California Energy Wise website, which is down below on the bottom right of this slide, caenergywise.com, and then it's / design guides.com, or excuse me, design guides. And there you can see, for example, equipment 1, and you could put all that information in there, these cleaning supplies that you need, what that daily maintenance is. For example, if it's the broiler, you probably want to look at, cleaning that broiler. You want to make sure that the grates are clean, that all of the ash and buildup that falls into that broiler is cleaned out on a regular basis. If you want to learn more about why you need to make sure that broiler is cleaned out regularly, I would encourage you to look on our website too, because we also talk about the introduction to the blue flame and why combustion and how that works within gas technology is important to make sure that it could breathe, and then your broiler is functioning correctly, so it's creating that high heat that you need for your burgers. So you can edit this document, you can create your own document and make multiple copies for your staff so they can get familiarized with what they need to do. And in this document, I would encourage you to have a heading of what some of those top cleaning components are that need to be cleaned and maintained on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. You want to make sure that your pilots are in place, that they're next to the burner, that the radiants that cover over your charbroiler are appropriately aligned. Often what I'll see in kitchens is that the chef may put a sheet tray over that broiler because they want it to get super hot, which will go over the high temperature that broiler should go, and then cause the radiance to warp, and therefore cause inefficiency within that broiler. So instead of that heat that's created on that burner tube to evenly distribute the heat, what it's going to do is it's going to, as it warped the radiant, it's going to not disperse that heat out evenly, and then you'll find that there'll be cold spots in your broiler. So your broiler, for example, when it comes in, it should be that heat should be evenly dispersed. And if you're not seeing that, you should definitely call for a qualified professional to come in. If the flame is too high, if you don't have that nice, beautiful blue flame, then maybe somebody should come in and make some adjustments. And often, sometimes when maybe your staff is cleaning, when others are cleaning, you want to make sure that water is kept away from those areas and make sure that it's cleaned out at the end of the day. And next slide. And then another resource I wanted to recommend was the CST Top 10 Tips. So these are tips that our technicians created and worked with others in the industry to create. And the top one is read your manual. Make sure that you have familiarized yourself with your manual. And as Asia said, that warranty, which also most likely includes the recommendation on who should maintain your equipment. For example, there's certain equipment categories like combination ovens that are a high cost piece of equipment that can cost $10, to $40,000 a piece. And usually those manufacturers are going to say, you need to use this qualified professional to do so. And number two, train your staff on proper equipment operation, show them how to use it, help them to be familiarized with it, make it a regular exercise, and update them on any changes that happen on a regular basis. Number three, inspect equipment regularly. Make sure that your equipment is inspected from top, bottom, the sides, the back. Make sure that, for example, in your fryer or your broiler, that the flues are cleaned in the back and not built up. After time, things can get built up. So if it is part of your procedure that you're pulling your equipment out, make sure that everything is nicely put back in place how it should be. And number four, communicate potential problems as soon as possible. So if you see something, say something. Let your supervisor know, let your technician know. If something doesn't look right, better get it checked out so you can learn as much as you can about that piece that is doing the legwork for you in your kitchen. And replace broken or worn out parts immediately. So I didn't go too much into this earlier, but work with your technicians to determine how often certain components on your fryer, on your broiler should be replaced. If you see that your pilot tubing that helps light your burners are discombobulated, let's get those replaced. You can call our commercial service technicians, or you can call your qualified professional to do so. Be familiar with how everything functions on your equipment. Be cautious, and as we both have discussed, avoid the do-it-yourself fixes, because the qualified professional knows best. They've even been trained by the manufacturer and trained by other certified bodies on how to maintain those pieces. They're looking for other troubleshoot issues that you may find that we're just not familiarized in our kitchen that we're operating. And clean and sanitize your equipment daily. So that is a key component to making sure that your equipment performs correctly. As I was talking about descaling steamers earlier, if your steamer, your boiler-based steamer, is not descaled on a regular basis and you have too much scale that's built up, you could actually take more time to steam the product. It'll use more energy and potentially use 20 to 30% more energy, because it's having to heat up the water in the boiler through that descale to get to the actual water that will create the steam in that steamer. And number 8, follow your manufacturer's cleaning recommendations. I worked with a manufacturer once, and I was doing a training, and I went to the customer and they used their own special chemical to clean a certain piece of equipment. It was too corrosive for that manufacturer's piece of equipment, and they used their own chemical. It actually stripped off the coating, and it was unfortunately removed from the warranty because they did not use proper cleaning materials, and it could cause corrosion and rust sooner. So look and see what the manufacturer recommends for chemicals that you should use and what you shouldn't use, what you should clean with water and what you should not clean with water. Speaking of water, filtration systems are important, are key. In California, we have a lot of hard water. We have a lot of high levels of chloramine, which is chlorine and ammonia. So make sure that you check your water at your source and look to your manufacturer to see what filtration they recommend for your kitchen and for that piece of equipment. and then also utilize proper cleaning tools. There's many different resources out there for cleaning, cleaning kits and packages and tools that you can use. Sometimes the manufacturer is in the know, sometimes they're not, but I would always recommend to see what the manufacturer recommends, use those. And if you find something that's maybe out of the box that possibly could work, I would check with your manufacturer rep and manufacturer first before you actually apply that in your kitchen. And that's it. That's number 10.
All right. Well, thank you. Some great tips there. I just want to remind everybody that bleach is not good on everything. I've had some small business owners like that's all they use to clean every piece of equipment, and that's not okay. So at this point, we want to jump into a little Q&A with our panelists. So again, thank you, Will, for already going over some best practices, but I know we can pick your brain a little bit more and get some more good information for our folks here. And then John, with your unique expertise, we've got some other questions that I think would help address that deep cleaning and how that impacts that preventative maintenance. So I'm going to start off with a few questions, but the folks that are here, feel free to drop your questions into the chat and we'll make sure to ask our panelists that as well. Let's start with something, that probably a lot of small business owners, that the reason why they don't do the preventative maintenance is because they think it's going to be very costly. So what are some things a small business owner can do to minimize the expenses that are associated with the preventative maintenance plan?
I don't mind going first, Will.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Okay. Yeah, it is, I think, it is it's seen as an expensive discretionary type of service. And so I could tell you probably one of the things that expedites or allows for that deep cleaning to go smoothly is preparing the area of the kitchen that we're coming in to clean, just preparing that so there's just almost no time spent removing any items from the area, taking anything down that's hanging up over the hood or around the hotline, and just allowing the loading in and loading out process to go smoothly. I also, I think Will just touched on it. A lot of restaurateurs, their employees don't even remember how the kitchen used to look. Like what is like the baseline look that the hotline should have and equipment. So one of the things that I advocate, which Will just talked about, I don't know if it was 9 or 10, was getting your employees good, and high quality tools and supplies to maintain the kitchen. So I just, it breaks my heart when I see people at the end of their shifts wiping down hotline equipment and stainless steel with the white cotton towels, and they're not really scrubbing anything. They're just kind of like moving the grease from the back of the hotline equipment to the front of the hotline equipment. And there's no way they're going to reach down along the side of a piece of equipment with, pretty much no glove and a cotton cloth. So, so if you put the right equipment in their hands, then they can sustain the level of the quality of the equipment in the kitchen longer, so that you can maybe move from a monthly to a quarterly, or a quarterly to a biannual. I mean, we're big advocates of having the in-house folks, maintain as much as they can without feeling exasperated by the buildup that's occurring. So the other thing, it's not always an option, but as much of your equipment that you can put on casters as opposed to legs speeds up that process of pulling equipment away from the wall. Allows us to get back and hit all those spots that don't normally get hit. I would minimize as much as possible the use of water around all this hotline equipment. It just does, they don't mix. So, but I'm also very sensitive to the fact that there's reason that the EPA has to register and create SDS sheets for chemicals. So, I think it's important to use a good chemical, but you also want to protect the folks, the in-house folks that are doing the cleaning. And so, so there's a sweet spot there where it's a strong enough chemical to make a difference, but not put any of those people at risk. I don't want to suck up all the time, Will. So if you have,
no, that's good.
John, that was great. I was nodding my head the whole time because I'm with you on all those recommendations. I just wanted to add to, I think where you're going and what your service provides is that a maintenance schedule is really like a warranty for your equipment, because generally when we buy something, we think that's all the money I spend on it, but there's more than that, and it has to be maintained and properly taken care of. And there's also an energy cost too. And, we want to make sure that we can reduce that energy cost as much as possible. And one of the big factors is maintaining the equipment or extending the longevity of it. If you're not going to use the fryer, if you're not going to use the convection oven, maybe it should be off, and there could be an equipment production schedule that could be put in place. So you could save energy there. When I first started working in kitchens, I was told when you come in at 5 in the morning after you lay the mats down, you turn every piece on. Uh, but chef, what if we're not going to use that piece? Can we turn it on at 10? Nope, we're going to turn it on right now just in case.
All right, so you kind of touched on this a little bit, but maybe if you could hammer home for us, John, do you recommend monthly, quarterly, or 6-month preventative maintenance schedule for operations?
Yeah, so I think there's two big factors that would like help guide that decision. One is just the volume of activity that's occurring in that kitchen. So you could take the Chick-fil-A at Terminal 1 at LAX. That sucker is pumping out fried chicken and French fries from like 4 a.m. to 11 p.m. nonstop. And you compare that to like a boutique Italian restaurant that doesn't open until 4 and only serves dinner 5 times a week. There's just a significant amount of difference in terms of the hours that are being logged on that equipment. The other thing is the types of foods that are being prepared on that equipment. So if if you take a veggie grill at the farmer's market versus a Panda Express, which has woks and oil flying all over the place, that's going to factor into the answer to that question. And you're right. I was hinting at it. I mean, I think a really good way to look at this is like to consider like the way we have to maintain a car is not that different than the way we would take care of hotline equipment. And I haven't looked at one in a long time, but I remember on the sticker, the window sticker, it shows, what the cost of ownership, or maybe Consumer Reports will tell you, you buy this car, this is what your annual maintenance expense should be. And this is what the gas, expense should be. And so when we're looking at hotline equipment, I think it should be about the same thing. In cars, we look at miles, and then every so many miles, we change the oil, and after so many miles, we change filters, and after so many miles, we have to change the shocks and the hoses, and if we're doing that consistently and planned out, we could wind up having to replace a tiny little hose that goes from one part of the engine to the other, as opposed to paying thousands of dollars to have some big piece of the engine removed and replaced. And I really do think we can accomplish that with hotline equipment. So to answer your question, we have clients who do a phenomenal job maintaining their equipment, and we come in annually. We have clients that don't they need us every month. They need us to restore that kitchen every month. It just accumulates. And I think right now that there's a little bit of what I'm seeing is a pretty big gap with the labor shortage and the ability to maintain kitchens and food service facilities at the level that a lot of these food operators want.
Yeah, no, agreed. You definitely need to have the staff in order to keep even the basic maintenance. Actually, I'm going to just pull this question out the chat because this one's more for you, Will. What are the benefits of gas appliances over electric?
That is a great question. I think, in summary, I think it really depends on what you're available to have in your kitchen, or if you are, for example, a burger chain and you're looking to have charbroiled meat. It's going to provide the flavor you're looking for. It can provide the heat. I would say it's comparable to all. Sometimes it depends on the manufacturer and their technology and design. So, sorry, that's a good question, and I'm probably diving too deep into it. But they're both very comparable. It really just depends on what that customer needs.
Okay, so there's gonna be a case by case basis depending on your menu.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and by manufacturer too, because some can produce the heat faster than others. As we do a lot of energy efficiency testing here, production efficiency and performance is important to me from the former operator point of view. Sorry about that.
Okay. I was like, who's got a radio going on in the background? That's you. Okay.
That was me.
John, really quick for you, how will a deep cleaning service impact the life of commercial equipment? You've mentioned you've had companies that need you every month and then some you just go every year. But, as a new operator, if I'm not sure how long my equipment should last, what would your services provide? How would it increase the life of it?
Yeah, I wish I had evidence of this, because
Charts and all
I
that.
think it's intuitive that we just like I was saying with the car, the same thing with the equipment, that if we're maintaining it and that it's going to perform better longer. And I think what really it comes down to is the equipment that's clean. I'm not a chef, but obviously it performs better. I'm not a cook, but I see that over time that there becomes locations on different types of hotline equipment where most of the cooking occurs. And so you can almost, I can see on a flat top how grease is accumulated. It's actually lifted the back left corner, like the stainless steel splash guard is lifting. And so you can see that everything's starting to warp, and it's amazing what grease and carbon can do to stainless steel. I mean, it's just wicked.
Grease gets in everywhere.
Yeah, it gets in everywhere, and once it starts to peel open a seam, it owns it. But I do see that clean equipment performs better. Clean equipment does not require nearly as much repairs or services, and I really do believe that if you can schedule this, I'll give you a perfect example. We did a bunch of work for Boston Market in 2021. And I was shocked to find out that Boston Market generates about 80% of its revenue in November and December for the year.
Oh, wow.
They are that is their time. They are catering. They've got to-go orders flying off the shelves. Their macaroni and cheese, they can't even keep it in stock.
Mm-hmm.
And so, unfortunately for them, they don't have a planned maintenance. And so here they are in the middle of the busiest season of the year. It's like turkey and mashed potatoes and macaroni and cheese. And they've got equipment breaking down. And literally days without pieces of equipment. And it was tragic. And it's just such an obvious opportunity to plan ahead, make sure all of this equipment is in a primo condition, so that we're not going to have any interruptions during the season where we generate 80% of our annual revenue. So, yeah. And a lot of times our calls, I forgot one of the answers was during the poll was, wait till it breaks. I wish that we had more proactive approach to this, but unfortunately my reality is a lot of it's reactive. And so, when it's a reactive, it's always on a Saturday or a Sunday. So it's going to be after hours. And so our bill is going to be 2 to 3 times what it normally would be. So if they had planned it, it would be a predictable cost. It is the cost of doing business. I mean, it is, you want to have nice equipment, you want it to work and last a long time, you got to take care of it. So, I don't know if I'm still on track with answering the question.
No, that was good. Well, there was something that you said earlier just about how it runs better, but I was going to say another component of just having a clean kitchen is the employee morale. And I think Colette mentioned this in one of her comments. There is something about working in a clean environment that people enjoy, right? So if it's dirty, I mean, you feel it, even if you don't have the grease physically on you, if you're surrounded by grease and you see all kind of muck and goo everywhere, you kind of feel creepy about it. So that preventative maintenance from the cleaning perspective, it's not just for the life of the equipment, it's also for, the comfort of your employees. And not saying, it's got to be, I can eat off the floor, but it has to be something where people are comfortable working in. We are preparing food. And so there is an employee morale component to it. There's a good question that came through the chat right now. How do you know when to replace a piece of equipment? Someone once said that if you've spent over 50% of the original cost in repairs, it should be replaced. I don't know if you guys have any comments on that.
Ooh, that's a good question. I'll take the first half, and then I'm sure John and I will jump in for
Thanks, Will.
both, if you're okay with that. So with gas and electric equipment too, you want to make sure that you have your safety straps on. There are some limited directions for that in our safety guide that reference you to check what that manufacturer recommends per the area you're living in. I was actually talking to a manufacturer last week, and that could vary per county, but in California you're usually looking at always safety straps. You want to make sure that your safety cable is shorter than that gas hose too.
This is in reference to the earthquake question, correct?
This is in reference to the earthquake question, but you also want to make sure that it's the same for gas and electric, because you pull that cord out, you want to make sure that it's safe and see what's recommended per equipment type and technology. And also there's different anchors that are offered to and available for different types of equipment. John did mention earlier that you want to put on casters as much as possible. And I think that was perfect, because he and I both know that there are certain pieces of equipment, maybe a steam jacketed kettle, that needs to be bolted down to the ground, or maybe a full-size combination oven. Some pieces, unfortunately, are harder to move because they have a little bit different requirements than others, like maybe your broiler that's on a chef base that can have casters, or your broiler that has casters that you can move out, or you could also add casters into.
Okay. All right, so then John, you want to take the second half. So he answered about the earthquake.
I'll take a shot
Where's
at
the life of the question?
Yeah. I'm not familiar with the 50% rule. I think that that some of the older equipment is better than some of the newer equipment, and it's worth maintaining. And it can be pretty disruptive to pull a piece of equipment out, and the cost associated with removing it, and all of the modifications that have to be made to bring in new hotline equipment. So, gosh, I don't have a hard rule on that. I mean, we just have I think a cost associated with maintaining hotline equipment. And I think on the repair and maintenance side, if that is starting to become, if something is chronic, then yeah, I would keep a close watch on that.
Yeah, I think that's a great recommendation, because some older pieces may have a better gauge of metal, thicker, stronger build, that you could just update and put in like a new updated kit if it's going to function for you the way you need it to. I would always talk to your manufacturer too, to see what they suggest and what options they have, because sometimes you'll find that with some of the newer equipment, like for like may be a little bit different in terms of build and design and durability and longevity of those pieces. But since we come from the energy side to it, I would always look at the energy that it takes for that piece of equipment to run. Maybe there's a more energy efficient piece that might even cost a little bit more, but could save you in the long run in terms of the energy used on that piece. So on that same California Energy Wise website, there is a cost calculator that you can look at for baseline inefficient equipment, and then you could look at efficient equipment and see what the energy used for that lifespan of that piece of equipment. And you'll be surprised in how much some pieces may cost within the lifespan of that piece.
Great, thank you.
Oh, Asia, you're on mute.
Thank you. You would think after a couple of years, I would have learned that I clicked it, but I didn't see that it didn't unclick. So thank you, gentlemen, for all of those wonderful bits of information, some great nuggets that you've passed on to the folks that are attending. I do want to leave time because we have more content for the folks that are attending. And I want to move over to Carmen, who's going to share with us some of those free services that Southern California Gas offers that can work, you know, side by side with the information that you've shared with us today. So if we go to that next slide.
Great, thanks, Asia.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Will. Thank you, John, for that great presentation on equipment maintenance. Like Asia said, the programs I'm going to talk about go hand in hand with equipment maintenance. And really, there's nothing like being able to extend the life of your equipment. So the information that we just talked about, so vital, so important. So thank you guys for that information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about some of the programs and services that SoCalGas has for our restaurant customers. And I am going to start with our Food Service Equipment Center. So Southern California Gas Company has a food service equipment center at our Energy Resource Center in the city of Downey. And it is the largest natural gas test kitchen in the country. We have over 100 pieces of equipment that you can come in and test. You can compare different manufacturers, different model numbers. You bring your own ingredients, your own recipes, and see which pieces of equipment work best for your kitchen and for your menu. We also have a full-time staff of culinary experts like Will Morris here, who are there to support our restaurant customers with the testing. They can answer questions, they can give recommendations, they can help with menu development. Anything that you need to help your testing process go smoothly and to help you be as energy efficient as possible. At our Energy Resource Center, in addition to our test kitchen, we also have seminars. And our seminars are completely free to the public. There's no cost to attend. We have a different food-related topic each month. We have a couple of seminars that are coming up in the next couple of months. We have one coming up on kitchen ventilation. We have another one on hot water heating systems in commercial kitchens. And if anyone wants to register for any of these seminars, you can go to californiaenergywise.com/seminars. Like I said, there's no cost to attend any of these events, and there's also no cost to use the test kitchen. So if you ever did want to try a new menu item, want to try a new piece of equipment, you can come in, make an appointment, and for no cost, test out some of the equipment. So next slide. All right, also we have our commercial service technicians as a resource. Our commercial service technicians are specifically trained to work on gas-fired cooking equipment, and they offer no-cost services such as calibrations, burner adjustments, diagnostic services, if you have some issues with your equipment and you would like us to take a look at it. And they also do light cleaning and of the burners and orifices. And I know earlier, Asia said when you call somebody out to have them come take a look, there's a cost to that. But I would like to let you know that for the Southern California Gas Company's Service technicians, commercial service technicians, they will come out at no charge to take a look at your equipment. They do offer some repairs. There's a cost associated with the repairs. They do burner replacements. They can put in new thermostats. They can replace connectors. And, you know, a lot of times we'll have the customers call the gas company when there's any issues with their gas equipment before they even make the service call. And the reason for that is because our folks can come out and they can troubleshoot the equipment, and it's very possible that they can offer you assistance at no cost. And our service technicians have a lot of experience with different types of equipment, with different brands of equipment, and it is a service that you pay for on your gas bill every month, so you might as well take advantage of it. It's something that is available to you. Was there a question in the chat about? No, okay. All right. Another resource we have is California Energy Wise. And California Energy Wise is a website that offers energy saving resources to food service customers throughout California. So there's information on there from Southern California Gas Company programs, as well as Southern California Edison programs, PG&E and SDG&E. And on this website, there are do-it-yourself energy surveys. There are cost calculators. Now, the cost calculators are great if you are contemplating purchasing a new piece of equipment and you want to find out how much it's going to cost to run a new high-efficiency piece of equipment versus a standard piece of equipment. And that cost savings, a lot of times, will help you make the decision if it's the right time to replace your equipment. We also have design guides, and these are useful if you're doing, say, a kitchen rebuild or remodel. We have information on our seminars and the seminars from the different utilities on what's going on food service wise. And then of course we have information on our rebate programs, which is a very popular program with our food service customers. And I'm going to be talking about that in just a minute. All right, food service energy surveys. So this is one of the no cost services that we offer. We offer energy surveys that are either remote or in person. And the way that they work is we put you in touch with an energy analyst, and that person will take a survey of the equipment that you have at your facility, ask you questions about the age of the equipment, the operation of the equipment, if you're having any issues with the equipment, and then they will do an analysis of your kitchen, let you know of any food service rebates or energy efficiency resources that may be available, and make general recommendations for improving the energy efficiency of that piece of equipment. And like I said, there is no cost to the customer to getting one of these energy surveys done. And this is just one of those programs that we would really like to see more customers take advantage of. It is paid for by SoCalGas, and you get a great tool that lists out the different pieces of equipment that you have in your kitchen, how much energy they use, how you can save, and it is at no cost to you. So if you are interested in getting one of these energy surveys done, you can contact PCR, you can contact us at SoCalGas at this number here, or you can go to the California Energy Wise website and you can request online someone contact you about the food service energy survey. Okay, next slide. Oh, if a restaurant takes advantage of the survey, how much can they save annually? Well, I'm going to give our standard answer, and that depends. It depends on the operation of your equipment. Like John said, you know, if you're running a 24-hour restaurant and you're using energy, you know, all the time, then your savings, of course, going to be greater than if you're a lunch or dinner only restaurant that's just using a few pieces of gas equipment. But, you know, regardless, there's always savings opportunities. And because there's no cost to getting the energy savings survey, and you are not obligated at all to implement any of the recommendations they're made, it's basically for your information. There's really no downside to taking advantage of this program. All right, so another program we have is our energy efficiency rebate program. So our rebate program offers financial assistance for the purchase of energy efficient equipment. And the reason we have this program is because when you have energy efficient equipment, or when you purchase energy efficient equipment, it tends to be a little bit more expensive than if you buy the standard equipment or if you buy used equipment. So we have this program to help bridge that gap, so you can have the funding to go out and buy the higher efficiency equipment. It's open to all non-residential customers. You just have to have a gas company account. For our 2022 programs, the equipment has to be installed this year. And what that means is if you purchased a piece of equipment anytime within 2022, even if it was January or February of this year, and you think, hey, this piece of equipment might qualify for the program, we can still help you out and get you signed up on a rebate program. And we can get that retroactive as long as the equipment has been installed this year. For the rebate amount, list of qualified products, you can go to our website, or you can go to the California Energy Wise website to get that information. And it's really, really easy to apply for our rebate programs. You can apply online through SoCalGas.com, just fill out an application, upload your supporting documents, which is just an invoice of the equipment that was purchased. Or you can get what we have called the instant rebate. And we have an instant rebate program where there are several vendors that are signed up. If you purchase a piece of equipment from one of these vendors that are signed up on our instant rebate program, you get your rebate right at the point of sale. It's right at the cash register. There are no forms to fill out, and you get it right away. And we have a list of all of the vendors that are signed up on our instant rebate program on the California Energy Wise website. And if you are having difficulties finding it, you can always give us a call and we can provide you with that list. But there really are a lot of vendors that are signed up for the instant rebate program, and it just makes it so easy to get that rebate for buying high efficiency equipment. All right, so these are the rebate categories that we have for our rebate program. We have rebates for ovens, all different types of ovens, combi ovens, convection ovens, rack ovens, conveyor ovens. We also have rebates for fryers, for griddles, for steamers, and for char broilers, of the conveyor broilers and the under-fired broilers. We also have rebates for commercial dishwashers and pre-rinse spray valves. And even though dishwashers and pre-rinse spray valves aren't necessarily gas-fired pieces of equipment, when you use your dishwasher, you're using hot water, right, to run the dishwasher. So we want to make sure that that water that's being heated with natural gas is as efficient as possible running through that dishwasher. And for the pre-rinse spray valves, we want those as efficient as possible. So you're using less water, you're using less gas. And just a rebate example. So we have a customer that came to us this year. They are a small bakery in Lakewood, and they purchased a double-stacked convection oven. And this particular bakery bought it from a vendor who was not on the instant rebate program. So we helped him out with the application. And the equipment cost was $6,800. And this was for a double stacked convection oven. The gas rebate was $1,400. So our rebate for convection ovens are $700 per oven, but because it was a double stacked oven, they got a double rebate because it's per oven. So the equipment cost after the rebate was $5,400, and SoCalGas did offer full rebate support to the customer. So we worked with them to get that supporting documentation, the invoice from the vendor. We got their gas bill to get all of their information on their account, basically help them fill out the application from start to finish, and just gave them the application to sign. So I wanted to give this example to let you know that our rebate amounts are really significant. It's not going to be a $25 gift card for putting in a new piece of equipment. And there are thousands and thousands of dollars worth of rebate sitting in our rebate program. So definitely, if you are looking to purchase new equipment, then take a look at our rebate programs, call us, and then we can definitely help you out. And I think I saw a question about water heating rebates. We do have a couple of programs for water heaters. One is a midstream program, which means that it is an instant rebate. It is given to the contractor. So when you have a contractor who is putting in your water heater, if he is putting in a high efficiency water heater, the rebate goes to the contractor to pass on down to you. We also have a downstream program, and it's not a set rebate amount like our commercial cooking rebate program. It depends on the size of the water heater, the type, and the efficiency. But we can work with you to determine what that rebate amount is. So if you're looking at putting in a new water heater and you want to make sure that it qualifies before you pull the trigger on that purchase, definitely give us a call and we can help you decide which pieces of equipment qualify. And if they don't, we can point you in the direction of a piece of equipment that is energy efficient. All right.
All right. Did we have any questions? Thank you, Carmen. Were there any other questions? I was saying that's a significant savings on equipment. So if you're a new business or replacing equipment, that's pretty significant. That's a nice
That's huge, especially
benefit.
if you're gonna have to buy that equipment anyway, right?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
why
Right.
not get a rebate?
You get some money back. Yeah. I like
Right, and
that.
we've all been to like Staples where they offer a $10 rebate, and we're saying, you know what, it's not worth it. We don't want people to think that our rebates are like that. They really make a difference in the cost of the equipment. Like I said, we want to encourage our customers to buy that energy efficient equipment so they are paying less in their operating costs for running their equipment.
Yes.
And those are really close to the savings you would find when you buy new equipment. I mean, used equipment. So if I can get a brand new piece of equipment with your rebate paid the same as a, used, that's fantastic.
No, that's a great point. That's a really great point. Thank you. All right. Any other questions here? Thank you all. Yeah, long-term too, Eric. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's a long-term play because we want businesses to be sustainably profitable. So that means long-term. So that's our whole goal for providing this information. Is that this isn't just, for today. We want you to stay in business as long as you want to stay in business. And while you're doing it, that you're very profitable and successful doing it. So thank you all so much as well. All right, so we're going to we just have a couple of prizes, and we are not going to do the spinning wheel because we're going to go to our first arrivals that came in today. So Eric and also Janelle. So we thank you all for coming, and you guys will get, because Eric came first, he'll get the smart $50 gift card. So Eric, thank you for showing up. Share that. And then Janelle, you will receive a SoCalGas gift box. So we will need your address if you want to send that to Briagini, who is here as well, and send that to her directly. We will get that to you as well. So thank you guys for coming and joining early, and we really appreciate your attendance today. All right. So last thing is upcoming workshops. So you guys, we have a whole list. Our list of workshops is growing. Business plan essentials, discipline entrepreneurship, launching your business today if you haven't already started, marketing during the uncertainty of COVID. We're still, well, it's just marketing now. So commercial leasing as well, particularly for restaurants. You definitely want to have your leases reviewed with our legal counsel. And then there's also this workshop that you can have a checklist. You have your own checklist and information so that before you go into a lease, you have considered some very important factors, because once you sign, it's too late. So it's very hard to manage around a signed lease. Social media, customer success management. So how do you grow your existing customer base, and how do you know who your best customers are? Financial fitness, we've added a lot of workshops here. Profit projections, income statement, balance sheet, cash flow, and then Are You Bankable is coming on very shortly. And so we want every one of our clients, particularly our restaurant clients, because your margins are tight. You got all this equipment and maintenance, and I love going to great restaurants, take out and sit down, but I definitely know that you all need it clean. Matter of fact, Asia won't even let me come to any clients where they're not clean enough. So just so y'all know, get clean so we can come and visit you. So we can make sure to come and visit your restaurant and buy from you directly on a regular. Then Restaurant Academy, as Celeste said, we've got rotational classes every month. So we are doing a workshop every week on restaurants and also forming your corporation. So those are just some of the workshops. Here are the contacts here. So you have your restaurant advisors, Asia and Celeste, then Carmen Oliver at SoCalGas and Will at SoCalGas. Who we didn't put on here was John. So John, please put your information, feel free to put your information in the chat right now as well, so that people can reach out to you for that cleaning and some of that delayed cleaning that they might have needed to do over the last couple of years. And so we know that it's tough, but get some help, you all. And so I just want to thank SoCalGas today, Carmen and Will, for coming on and sharing great information, as well as John Spock with Safe Kitchens. Thank you all so much. Such great information for our restaurants. And we look forward to taking this and sharing this with we're going to be sharing this in one of our e-blasts to everybody with the link. So we'll make sure to share this widely as well as directly to our restaurants, our client restaurants. Then just also want to thank our advisors, Asia and Celeste. They love restaurants and love helping restaurants and helping you guys to be profitable and to know your numbers, and so that you can stay in for the future no matter what comes. And so life is strange and our situations are strange, so let them help you to save your cost. We're not in a recession, but we've got inflation, so you definitely want to be able to save costs. Let SoCalGas and our restaurant advisors, as well as John, help you to do that. Save costs, maintain your equipment properly. Then also just to our team, China, Briogeny, and Leah, thank you all so much for pulling everything together. We appreciate you. And of course, we thank our clients. Thank you for trusting us to be able to assist you with your business, to help you to sustain and grow for the future. Everybody have a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.